What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bells on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content I am kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support I'm getting on this channel. We're going up and it's all because of you. Thank you very much, man. I'm humbled. Now, again, man, I'm asked a lot of questions by a lot of subscribers. And one of the main questions that's being asked right now that's trending, the trending topic about Danny Raperson, right? Danny Masterson. We just can't get enough of this guy, can we, right? There's going to be some brother in that cell like, brother, I can't get enough of you either. I can't go for that. No, he's going to get that hauled and oatsed, right? But Danny Masterson, the question of the day that I wanted to answer for the subscriber that asked me, man, shout out again. Thank you for the question. I'm going to have to learn how to do this little pop-up so I can show you guys the questions. Was, will his green light follow him wherever he goes? So, the word on the curb is that he's going for an appeal, right? Or he went up for an appeal. And I can tell you right now, kill that, right? He filed an appeal. His lawyer filed an appeal in his behalf. That's the way it works. The day of his conviction, immediately they filed an appeal on whatever reasons that they have behind it, right? Will he be granted an appeal? Officially, I can't call it like an alcoholic. One thing I can say for sure is it's out there in the wind. It's in the cloud, the iCloud, right? I think, just me personally, yeah, he's probably going to get an appeal. And of course, they're going to try to tear these victims up. Again, these victims, these women are going to have to go through and relive these memories once again, ultimately to get this guy this conviction once again, to keep his ass sat down right there in CMC East playing dominoes, right? So we'll see what happens. But what happens when you get an appeal is that you're transported from the prison you're in to the county jail of your conviction. So they'll come to his cell, they'll tell him, roll it up, leave your property here. They'll store his property and they'll take him personally and they'll escort him, they'll pack him, transfer him to fucking whatever county jail is in the county that he got convicted out of. I believe he got convicted out of Los Angeles County, LA County. So of course he'll go to Millionaire's Row. Now, for those of you that don't know what Millionaire's Row is, it's kind of a long-running joke in LA County from people that have been there. I've talked to them. It's high power. Okay, in the high power security, that's where they'll put your actors, your people with different types of cases, notorious type cases, people that are protective custody or whatever. They put them in a place called high power. Now, of course, just because you're in high power doesn't mean you're PC. Don't get it twisted. Some people that are in the high power area of the LA County Jail is because of their celebrity status. It could be because they have a lot of money. It could be one of many things. It could be that they're part of a group or prison organization and they're to be kept separated. They try to keep them separated from the rest of the general population just based on they feel they have too much influence or too much power over what's going on in them prisons. So whatever the case factors that play into it, they move you to high power. He will be moved to a spot called Millionaire's Row, right? And Millionaire's Row is where all the guys with a lot of money that are popular actors, actresses, whatever, they're placed there, right? That's ultimately what Danny Masterson will end up fighting his appeal. Now, his appeal could take anywhere from a week to a month. One never knows, right? Sometimes they take you there because it's easier for the lawyer to have access to you so they can facilitate these lawyer inmate privileged conversations, okay, that the cops can't record or be a part of. And that's the wiggle. That's the hustle in there. A lot of people will go to the county jail, catch a pegada, go to the county jail, so that they can have some outside influence and chop it up. It just makes it a little bit more comfortable and easier to facilitate communication and conversation, right? Without the eyes on you. So anyways, he'll be placed there on Millionaire's Row. Will the green light follow him? Was the question. Will they still trip on him? Abso-fucking-lutely. He has an R on his jacket. Okay, let's get an understanding of what that means. Okay, we've heard stories. I've told them, a lot of people have told them, content creators, about the GBGs having a green light out on him, right? Wanting to beat him up for whatever reasons they have, whether that's because he's against gays or he's slandered them in the past, whatever. They took a dislike to this guy and it was put out there that they wanted his head on a platter so they could fuck it, right? However that went. Then, of course, the Brothers by Choice. And I didn't break too much down. I've done a video on my past on my other channel about the BBCs. But the Brothers by Choice, a lot of them are ex-skins, ex-Aryan Brotherhood, ex-Nazi lowriders that came together like butt cheeks on an SNY yard, man, and formed a group, okay? Very aggressive. These guys are not suckers, not punks. Like I said, just because you go to the SNY yard doesn't mean you hang up the fierro. Doesn't mean, you still can't stab nobody or you don't know how to. A lot of these guys are old school convicts that have been around a long time and just ended up on an SNY yard for whatever reason, whether they asked for protective custody to go there or they were just told this is the only spot for you. However it went, that's where they're at. Okay. And they came together and, you know, obviously TMZ put out there was no assault taken. I fucking put out there, you know, there was some hair pulled. Let's just say that. So now we say the brothers by choice got a green light on him. I don't think it was a green light necessarily. I think more so it was just, he's a rapist. He's a trophy. They're going to get at his head. And that's it. That's pretty much it. So when the guy asked me, will this green light follow him to the county jail or wherever he goes? Absolutely. When you have a green light put on you, it doesn't matter where in the world you go. You can go to Egypt and ride camels with the Prince of Saudi Arabia. You can go to Tokyo. Let it go in Tokyo. You can go to Africa, to fucking Antarctica and try to climb the wall and see if the earth is flat. You can go swim with the fucking dolphins. Doesn't matter where you go, that green light will not be lifted unless those who placed it on you lift it. Okay? The green light is forever. When you have an R on your jacket, you have a soft green light on you from everybody. Any general population inmate, any convict who's done time, who has some merit and some spirit, anybody doesn't like anybody with an R on his jacket. So anytime you have any type of sexual deviant cases in the state of California, you have a green light out on you. Now, not necessarily they're going to say and tell and scream it from the hills, everyone, that there's a green light, but you should know that if you have a sexual case, a case where you're telling or anything like that, automatically people are going to apply pressure. Okay, you can't walk any general population yard without getting ran up on and beat up. That's just the way it is, or some metal put in you. So yes, he will have a green light, and it doesn't matter where he goes. If he goes to the LA County Jail, that green light shall follow him because he has what you call a green light that's forever, a forever green light. Until them charges are overturned, if he wins on appeal, there's still going to be people tripping on him. There's still going to be people that don't believe it. They're going to believe his money was behind it. They're going to believe he was able to switch up one of these witnesses' testimony. They're going to believe he got out on a technicality. Again, like I said, there's people, you can't change the rhythm and the way people think. Once you're convicted of a heinous crime like that, it's already in the back of people's minds and it's settled in and it's just festering right there, okay, like a disease. So he'll have a green light wherever he goes. Now, of course, he'll never, ever, ever hit a general population yard. And I remember some guy asked me a while back, he was like, well, what if they mess up? They don't. Okay, let me be honest with you, they don't. There's no way, quite possibly, there ever, especially with him. Now, there has in the past been things that guys have shit on their jacket that, you know, maybe it's from way in the 70s or the early 80s in the past that doesn't pop up, and then they get put on general population yards. And if they just figured out, or the filth comes to the cream rises to the top, then they're whacked, right? They're removed from that yard. I've told stories about it. But as far as them knowing who he is, and everybody in the world knows who he is by now, getting placed on a general population yard on accident, them types of accidents don't happen. The accidents that do happen are maybe unlocked doors, or you get put in an area, you know, in a day room where there's some guys that don't like you, or, you know, you're putting potty watch with a guy who's trying to watch your potty. I don't know. But as far as going to a general population yard, there's a lot of different loopholes and things that you have to slide through, a lot of Fruit Loops you have to dive through before you can get to a GP yard. He's not going to ever be one. So those guys that had the green light on them from there, which there's no particular prison organization that automatically has a green light on them. It's just, it goes without being said. He's a sexual deviant. He has sexual crimes. He's convicted of it. So he's not going to get a pass. He's not going to get justification, or he's not going to get due process. No one's going to ask questions. They're going to whack him on sight. You know, but these guys that are in GP, they already know we're never going to see them. They got other fish to fry and other things to worry about. So they'll never worry about Danny Masterson, right? But the SNY yard's different. You know, allegedly he does have green lights placed on him from certain groups that want to get at him for a particular reason, a special reason. So he has a special need to be on that special needs yard. LA County doesn't stop. Now, where he's going to be placed during his appeal on Millionaires Row, there's a lot of guys that are probably not even tripping off prison politics. You got to understand, these guys with a lot of money, they were actors, actresses, they're not going to go in there and try to fucking rush Danny Masterson because of his case. A lot of these guys probably did fucking movies or commercials with them or whatever. They know them. So if anything, they're going to be one fucking big family just hugging each other. And that's it. He's going to do his time. I don't think anything will happen there. That's why he's going to be placed in that priority unit where it's a little bit softer and they can keep their eyes on him. Pretty much, man, cut and dry. I'm going to keep it real. Danny Masterson is going to have cush time from now on. I don't foresee any of these groups that have green-lighted him being able to get to him. I think they're already up on game. I think the CDC has already fucking matched your move on chess, man, and it's pretty much a checkmate. Wherever he goes, he's gonna be safe. Okay, so if they move him there, does that mean the green light stops? No, it doesn't. It will never stop forever and ever and ever. That is something that is placed on him because of his crime, not because of any particular reason. Now, there are guys that get green lights put on them, Vaudios, hoods, from different group organizations, and that's because somewhere along the line, somebody fucked up. You don't just get a green light placed on you because you're innocent and fucking people are just like, we don't like you, we're gonna put a green light out on you. Now, there are people that will try to beat you up on site because maybe you bump baking soda breath behind the doors and add seg and talk shit. Again, that doesn't mean a green light, that just means you're on site. There's a difference between being on site and green lighted. When you're green lighted, that shit follows you to the calles, to the streets. Like I said, it'll follow you to an Alaskan igloo, ice fishing. Doesn't matter where you go, there's always going to be people that if they see you, they might not aggressively be looking for you, but if they see you, they're going to get you. When you're on site, it could be just a particular person that you disrespected or felt disrespected, and when they see you, they're like, hey, homie, you're on site, bro. If I see you, I'm going to get off as soon as I see you. Okay, and those type of individuals, it goes tit for tat. You could say, okay, then you're on site. And so now you have two individuals that are always going to be looking over their back. Well, what happens in most of these cases in the California prison system is one of the two are weaker than the other, usually, right? And someone will 602 them or put them on an enemy list. And then once you're on an enemy list of somebody, you'll never be able to go to that prison. Okay, let me cut and dry. Let me explain it to you. So there is this enemy list that you hear about in prisons. And usually they do this if a crime partner told on his crime partner, or if, you got beef with a certain body or a group and you don't want that smoke, man, you know that they're incarcerated. You'll put people on your enemy list. They'll actually go to the program office and say, look, I can't be on the yard with this guy, can't be on the yard with that guy. And they give reasoning behind it. And then bam, there they go. There's guys, you're on their enemy list and you don't even know it. I remember, so I get to Jamestown prison, right? And I got in the fight, and I told you guys about it, man. I got in a fight in the chow hall, or for those of you that don't know, here it goes. I got in a fight in the chow hall over some sugar, man, in the kitchen, and then I was placed in ad seg. Upon being in ad seg, I told the story just the other day. There was some white Crip that was there. I don't even want to call him a Crip. Shout out to my Crip homies. But that's what he was claiming at this particular time. He started bumping baking soda breath, yelling out the door, man. We went to the yard, the group yard. I got off on him, right? So, of course, I'm thinking, it's cool. I'm just going to do my little whole time, whatever. I picked up another 115. It's just a mutual combat. That's what a write-up is called in prison, a 115 in the state of California. So I picked up my 115, reread it, read it again. They gave me a little 30 extra days in ad seg, whatever, right? And then a sergeant comes to my door and says, hey, you're going to be shipped out. You're going to go to ICC and we're going to place you somewhere else. I said, why come? What did I do, right? And the thing was that somebody had me on their enemy list. Now, I don't know if it was the guy that I fought with in the fucking chow hall or in the kitchen, or was it this guy I just fucking beat up on, on the group yard, but somebody put me on their enemy list, right? And then they started naming names off, and man, it made me wonder. There was homeboys that I thought were my friends that had me on their enemy list. I was like, wow, right? So, of course, I stood there a few extra months before I went to ICC, which is committee, and then I was placed somewhere else. Now, again, it was what it was. That's just part of the game. So people do utilize that as a tool and a tactic to avoid, the pleito, to avoid the drama, and they don't want that smoke. Now, everybody is on fucking Danny Masterson's fucking enemy list. Because once you are a sexual predator or you got a sex case, they know that the only places they could usually send you to are where other sexual predators are on the yards, or where it's as easy as it could be. Now, a lot of these guys that ain't popular like Danny Masterson, they go to these SNY yards and they get extorted, beat up on, and found out about. Now, it's just the way it is. But because Danny Masterson is who he is, everyone knows the CDC had to fucking sit down, reassess the situation, huddle, and hike. And he was booted like a field goal all the way to CMC East, which is probably the most comfortable and softest yard that I never even thunk about, when I first thought about Danny Masterson. So anyways, that's where he's at. So he does have a green light on him. But it's not the type of green light you would think. Now, whether the GBGs factually had a solid green light on them within their group, I can't call it like an alcoholic. I don't know for sure. Whether the Brothers by Choice have a green light on them, I don't think so. I think they just fucking took the opportunity to blast him because he was a trophy, and that was that. TMZ wants to beg to differ, but again, National Enquirer, right? I'm right here telling you guys facts, how it is, the ins and outs of prison. If someone sees you and they're going to get at you, it doesn't matter if the officers got you. It doesn't matter if there's a brick wall, they're going through it. They're going to jump the fence. Whatever they could do to get at you, because if they don't, and they go back and tell their homeboys, oh yeah, they were escorting that puto, and the first thing their homeboys are going to say is, bro, you didn't fucking try to get him? Oh no, because the way that my getting it was that day. No, well, they're going to show you how they get you. You know, if you have opportunity, there ain't nothing but air and opportunity. You better fucking be able to fly like Michael Jordan and fly through that air, through that cop, through that wall, under that fence, deep down in that hole, come up, pop up, and grab him by his hair. Okay, now you're solid again. And I know a lot of people think just because they're S&Y yards and protective custody yards or whatever, that these guys are not willing to do that. Again, I beg to differ. If anything, there was a time in the 2000s where those S&Y yards were actually the roughest yards to be on. They were actually committing more murders and more acts of crime on those yards. Now, when it comes to these S&Y groups or gangs, the labels people put on them, the BBCs, the independent riders, the 2-5ers, northern riders, whatever little group or gang that these guys have joined, right? You have to understand that when these first gangs were first established, right? These are the people that Danny Masterson will have to look out for, right? When these gangs were first established, a lot of these guys were dropouts, righteous dropouts, right? From big prison organizations and groups. They were old school convicts. They were with the program. Okay, somewhere along the line, it started to become watered down, and there was guys that were locking it up from the cop car, or guys that were never going into facilities gangbanging, that decided, you know, I'll just go over here, and then they joined these groups and got a whole bunch of tattoos on them. That's what happens. Okay, so I would say maybe 70% of the guys that are now from these groups, other than a few groups, and I'm going to tell you about one right now, are pretty much, you know, never been nowhere, never done that, never been to a 4-yard, not even a 3-yard, maybe been to a fire camp level 1 or 2, but they're all tatted down and they look the part, right? But are they really going to take the initiative to do it? Some of them will, because they want to prove themselves to their cronies, to their older homeboys. But a lot of these OGs that have been around, they're going to say it's not even worth the time. What are we going to do? Blast them and get more time on top of time? Nah, we'd rather have him on this yard here so we could extort the dog shit out of him. That's how their thinking is. So that's what Danny Masterson would have to look out for. These youngsters, these guys that never been nowhere, are going to be the first ones to try to fucking run up on him because they think it looks cool. Not because they gain brownie points or stripes from it. They get nothing. They're on an S&Y yard. It's not considered nada. But in their gang and in their group, you know, it's righteously what they have to do to earn their stripes. Now, there are some groups that are on S&Y. One group in particular, man, that I've heard a lot about, and I don't know too much details on them, but I heard they don't fucking play, is the Zapatistas, right? The Zapatista group, it's a very clandestine group with very few members. Again, I don't know why they took the name Zapatista. Maybe it means warrior or whatever, but they took the name Zapatista and they ran with it. And there's a lot of rules and regulations to even be involved in that group. And some of the things they do, man, they're about that business, okay? A lot of people say that I've talked to, yeah, you don't fuck with them, homes, you don't mention them, dudes right there are hitters. You know, that's why there's so limited few. A lot of them dudes are old school convicts that joined this group for whatever they joined it from, and they don't play. They'll put metal in you fast. Danny Masterson don't want that smoke with the Zapatistas. They'll zap his ass. Tista, and that's it. So when it comes to Danny Masterson, is he always going to have a green light? Forever. Forever, man. He's not liked anywhere he goes, and it doesn't matter if it's the LA County Jail and back, and they'll get his ass. So here's another thing. They also asked me, they said, will he be transferred back to the facility he left, or will they fucking move him to somewhere else? Usually, when you go to court, you go right back to the same prison that you left from. Like I said, your property doesn't even follow you. They'll put the property in a property storage unit, or even leave it in your cell sometimes, depending upon how many days you're going to be gone. And your cellie can eat all your Zuzus and Wham Whams, Danny, while you're gone, right? Because you're not jacking them off every night, so you owe him something. So anyways, this guy, he'll go back. He'll go back. Of course he's going to go back. If he was safe there and nothing was happening, they're not going to rock the boat. They're not going to automatically send him to Tehachapi so he can go over there and grow tits, right? They're going to keep him where he's at. So yeah, 9 times out of 10. Now, there are some cases where you paroled out of the hole, or you did your whole time, then you end up going to the county jail, and it's just mumbo jumbo, and then they end up fucking, you go to a committee meeting, and then they send you wherever they're going to send you. But 9 times out of 10, you're just going to go right back to where you were programming. So will Danny Masterson be safe? In life, he's never breathing safely. Okay, anything can happen at any time when it comes to this guy. Will it happen? I don't know. Just like you guys don't know. We're just going to watch and see. But as far as a green light being removed by a certain group, he's got a rape on his jacket. He'll never be comfortable. He'll never be safe. He has an unspoken green light, a broken green light, right? Just like he has probably broken spokes by now. There's going to be individuals that don't like him, pretty much everyone, even on them SNY yards. Okay, just because people are on them SNY yards, not all of them are in there for sexual cases or snitching. There's a lot of guys that are righteous gang dropouts or people that went over there because they got whacked or removed and they don't like to be around cheaters, chomos, and rapos. That's just what it is. So if they fucking, find out that their celly is, or if they find out someone else is, they're going to fucking get off. And a lot of them youngsters, like I said, they're trying to prove themselves. They're going to get off. So he has a lot of people wanting to get off and probably fucking some weirdo with long hair and eyeshadow trying to get on. I don't know what he's going to do. That's totally up to him. Again, if his nipples get hard, they do. All I can say is this, when it comes to green lights and all that, there's a lot of people that have them. There's a lot of people that have them. You automatically got to understand when you catch a sex case, man, they popped your light. It's over. Everyone wants you. So like I say, in most cases, people that do have these sexual cases, they're going to just fucking automatically put them in PC. It's just what it is. Anyway, so I hope that answered the question. Will this green light follow him? Will he be safe in LA County Jail? I don't know. Again, I think he'll be put on Millionaire's Row, in high power so they can monitor him and, whatever their program is in LA County, how they come out or they don't. I know I talked to a couple dudes that were in high power. One of them I talked to back in the days was Snoop from Northern Riders, Snoop. And that's back when we were facilitating conversation. I was trying to get, an exclusive interview. He was trying to sell the rights to his story and all that. We went through all that. There was the ups and downs. He didn't like me. He did. Whatever, man. I got to send that guy respect. He's about his business. No disrespect to him, but I'm just keeping it real. And I remember that he was in high power at the time in LA County Jail. He was fighting a kingpin case. They were trying to say he was the leader of a group, an organization, and he ended up ultimately catching 60 years, what I heard, right? Before he was moved to Donovan, where he just picked up another murder case. He's different, right? But at that time, I heard someone in the background when we were having this conversation on the phone, and I was like, who's that? And he was like, that's Shitty Cuz. So he was locked up right there with the guy who killed Nipsey Hussle, right? And I remember saying, put him on the phone, trying to get an interview, but then I thought about it, and I said, man, I support Nip. But I still was going to try to bring you an exclusive, but that dude's lawyer said had a gag order on him. He couldn't do much. But he was there. He was there with them. Truth and facts, right? So, imagine someone like Snoop that's there and Danny Masterson gets there. He'll put metal in you. I'm not saying that trying to put on his play, but there are guys that are fucking vicious like that. So anyways, with that being said, I hope that answers the question. Will that green light follow him? Will he be safe anywhere he goes? You're never ultimately safe 100% in prison. Prison is prison. And if a guy rolls over that morning and fucking he has the taste of dick in his mouth and he just doesn't like it, especially on a yard that fucking Danny Masterson's on, then he could just blow bad breath on him and stab him. So one never knows, does one. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get everything that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive to struggle, the struggle to strive. I'm here to provide the best possible content I can while on YouTube, man. I'm trying to do the most. That's just what it is, man. I appreciate you guys. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle for what I believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. Hey, you keep asking about Danny Masterson, I'll keep bringing it to you. And if I have some breaking news going on, what I'm working on right now, I can't really speak on, but let's just say visuals, people. Visuals. I'm trying. Bang, bang. The gun.